Let's take a look at the idea of data and sampling. Now that we know what statistics is and we need data to collect that, to collect it, we have to use what we call sampling methods, different ways, right? And so when we think about collecting data from a population, right, we first know that we want to make sure that we have a random sample, right? That each member of a population initially has an equal chance of being selected for the sample. Again, this allows us to remove bias from our sample. So one of the first methods, so we have different methods to random sample. One of the first methods is a simple random sample. We get that confused with just random sample in general. Random sample is just a general idea of some random process that where everyone has the same chance of being chosen. A simple random sample is a process we use, right? Like using a computer, putting all the names in a hat, right? And we have a definition for that, and we call that SRS many times for short, right? That every group we have, right, of a certain size is equally likely. And so the way we do that and we control that is through a random number generator in a computer, putting names in a hat like a lottery, right? That is a simple random sample. Sometimes we need more sophisticated methods, and one way to do that would be through what's a stratified random sample, right, where you take your population and think about putting the population into different groups called strata, and then taking a proportionate number from each of those strata or stratum. So you can break a college, like if you think about a college population, you can break that up into departments and looking at different majors, right? Or high school, you can think about freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors. Those would be four strata. And then you would select people from each of those strata, an equal proportion from each strata. First is what we call a cluster sample. A cluster is, again, where you divide the population to groups, what we call clusters, these big groups. And then we just sample a certain amount of clusters. In a stratified sample, we select some from all. We select some people, a proportion from all of the groups. In a cluster, we sample all the people from some of the groups. And so you'll think about what that is. Again, you have the groups, and we're selecting only some of the groups, and then measuring or getting data from all of the people from some of those groups. So stratified is selecting some from all the groups. Cluster is selecting all the people from some of the groups. And again, you'll see that in your homework and get a chance to think about the difference. Another method is what we call a systematic sampling method, and this is just like choosing every nth item, a systematic way. You have 100 students I want to sample. I'm going to choose every fifth one, the 10th, the 15th, and coming up with some number ahead of time before doing that, right? Randomly choosing some number and then saying I'm going to take this amount, right? So I need 20 people, so that means I need every fifth person. So something like that. And then there's an analysis here of really trying to distinguish between those two. Like I said, stratified and cluster are sometimes indistinguishable. People get these confused all the time because they both represent groups. But again, in one of the groups, we're taking some elements, like it says here, from all, and then some elements from, all elements from some of the clusters. Important to think about, again, really thinking about those two things.